S.H. Don King,
Daphne Johnson,
Kendall Alexander Richardson,
Donna Dossett Major,
Angelina Cooper,
Taisha Triumph Clare,
Chad Rutherford,
Ron Rogers,
Anne Marie Clinton Rowe,
Great Honorable Priest Rickman McKinney,
Rashay Sands,
Mr. Ebony Emmanuel,
Charlotte Green,
Jason Gibson,
Cara Ellis,
Yvette Prince.
I'm Lincoln Bain, and I'm the leader of the Coalition of Independence. We are a group of Bahamians who have come together to be the change this country needs to see.
Change is here.
Good evening, Bahamas, and welcome as always. It's a pleasure to have all of you with us. I'm sorry you're going to see us still setting up as we're doing this. Our days are fluid nowadays. There's 60 flags behind me. Our days are fluid nowadays. I just come back from an important meeting with the parliamentary registrar. Just got back, just sat down. So we apologize for being late tonight, but this is an important one tonight that we want you all to know and understand. There's a couple of things that we got to touch on before we get started. But first and foremost, we want to recognize today is September 1st, and this is the anniversary of the tragedy we call Dorian. One of the biggest hurricanes that has hit land in this side of the world. The most devastating destruction that we've had in our country happened on this day. And it so happens that 3 of our candidates experienced Dorian. They were actually in Abaco during Dorian, the tragedy we know as Dorian. And so we're going to talk to them today. Briefly, before we get started, I'm going to introduce them to you. We're going to have another conversation when we finish that. But I have just a couple of things I need to touch on before we get there. And so you know what to do as we get started with this share, because I'm going to give you some brief updates about some conversations with the parliamentary register. Ladies and gentlemen, this election is going to be epic. This is going to be epic. It is going to be a catastrophic disaster unless they get some things in place extremely quickly. Catastrophic disaster. It's almost as if the government is preparing to make this happen so that they can go to election court. I'm going to let you know what that means in a minute. What I have confidence in the workers at the parliamentary registrar I don't think that the government is making the right decisions as it relates to this election. And so there's going to be helter-skelter. I advise everyone to go there early. I'm going to update you on that in a minute. Before we get there, I just want to say this. Please share, because the whole Bahamas needs to see this one. There's some important information if your family, if they're going to be voting, needs to hear. There's some important information that's going to be here in this one. Important information. And so I'm going to introduce you to some people tonight, but this one is extremely important. I want to say this to everyone in the country watching this right now, that we are proud of our organization. We are proud of what we have been able to accomplish. We have accomplished something that is historic, and at no time in the history of this country has an organization been able to form, a political organization been able to form so quickly, gain momentum so quickly, organize so quickly, and get to where we are, to fight for the people, to be there for the people, and to be a major contender in an election. We are not a fringe party. We are one of the parties that have over 30 candidates in this election. There are 3 of them that have over 30 candidates in this election. That makes us a major contender in this election. I think that we have trumped them by making history by bringing forward 53% women to this election. I think that that is also historic. Women in leadership is extremely important for the future of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not just talking this, we are doing this and showing that this is what we are about. Please share. Please share. And so we are proud of our accomplishments. And I want you to understand that some people out there are worried about whether we can do it, etc. Don't worry about what anyone else is going to do in this election. Just worry about what you are going to do. Some people are saying, oh, some people are still going to vote, excuse me, are still going to vote PLP, FNM. Don't worry about them. Let me tell you how easy this election is for us to win. Coming forward and being a major organization for the first time in this country's history. Let me show you how easy this is. We don't need majority to win this election. There's the PLP as a major organization with 30 or more candidates. There's the FNM as a major organization. And then there's the COI, the Coalition of Independents as a major organization. 3 major organizations have put themselves forward this time. We don't need 50% plus 1. When there are only 2 parties, you need 50% plus 1 to win. Now, we only need 33% plus 1. We're going to call that 34%. So what does that mean? We only need 34% plus 1 to win in these constituencies. What does that mean? That means that if the FNM and PLP together get 66% of the vote, that means the vast majority of the Bahamian people decide to still vote for the FNM and PLP, we still win. Do the math. If we only get 34% and they get 66%, the vast majority, we win. So don't worry about the numbers and whether a lot of people are still going to vote one way or another way. It doesn't matter. We just need to get ours. We can win this. We can make history. We can do what has never been done before. I believe that God himself has leveled the playing field. And he's made it so that we can actually win this. Don't worry about what everyone else is going to do. Don't worry about how much people you see paid to ride on a truck or wear yellow shirts and go on a blockade. Don't worry about that. We can win this. We only need 34% plus 1. It's doable. For the first time, we can do it. And I want you to understand that. Now, this is important. Someone is saying that it's fuzzy. They're saying that the reception is fuzzy. Oh, yes, it is. They're saying that the reception is fuzzy. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. We have a whole crowd of people in here, and they're probably on the internet, so I'm going to need everyone to come off that. See if we can. Nope, I'm going to have to come on the other internet. So if everyone can just, we have a whole team here. I think I'm going to switch over quickly. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we have a better reception now. Okay. If not, I'll sign off and sign back in, and we'll see if we have better reception. Do we? Oh, yeah, it's much better now. I think it's much better now. So please let me know if it goes in the wrong direction again. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, don't worry about what everyone is going to do. Now, this is very important for you to communicate with your family and friends. There are fake organizations out there pretending to be us. We know that Philip Brave Davis, right, met with certain persons and got them to form another organization to infiltrate us and to use our name, all right, the coalition, in order to confuse people. And so that was their strategy. They could not beat us by telling lies on me and telling lies on other persons in my organization. They come up with a different lie every week. And that didn't work. And so that strategy didn't work. They couldn't tell lies about what we were saying because we were bringing evidence. And so when they were talking and saying that we're selling dreams, they couldn't bring evidence against us. And so people are believing us. And so now they're starting to repeat things that they've heard us say. And so when all of that didn't work and all of their strategies didn't work, they've decided now to copy us. They've decided to try to bring a fake organization with a view to trying to take votes from us. But this was a paid effort, we believe. Okay? And so now we're seeing it. Not only did they try to form an organization in the last minute in order to copy who we are using the same name, they have decided to go on the streets, and there are persons on the streets literally going door to door in black shirts, pretending to be with us, giving our name as an organization, but giving their names as candidates to say that they are with us, that they are a candidate for us. They're wearing black. And in one instance, we saw someone walking with actually a shirt with our logo on it. But they're wearing black shirts, and they're telling people that they're with the Coalition of Independence, not the new fake coalition. They're saying that they're with the Coalition of Independence, and they're calling my name Lincoln Bain. Ladies and gentlemen, only endorse and vote for the persons that we have endorsed and put forward. There's a diabolic plan by the PLP and FNM to try to thwart what we are doing, to try to disturb the New Bahamas by sending a fake coalition. We have to stop that. We have to communicate with our persons. Only the persons you see in front of you right now are the persons that we endorse. Them and only them. These are the people that you should vote for. Go to our website, go to our Facebook page, and look for the names. Remember those names and go to the ballot box and look for our logo. That is extremely important. Look for that logo. If you don't see that name on our list, do not vote for them. If our logo is not represented next to them, do not vote for them. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important that you remember that they will try anything to stop this movement. But nothing that they try is going to work. The Bahamas is ready for a blackout. And so what these persons are doing is they're walking around wearing black. We got pictures of some of them. Producer, do you have the pictures? We have pictures of some of them walking around in the community, dressed in black, and we're told that they are telling people that they are with us when they are not. If those pictures are ready, I would really like to be able to see them. Look, these are people, they are wearing black. I can only see half of the picture. I'm seeing a lot of road. I need to see the people's. But anyway, they're wearing black. I can't see the people. Show the people. And so they're wearing black, and persons are being told that, or being confused that they are with us. Ladies and gentlemen, these people that you are seeing, although they are in black, are not a part of our organization. This is the lengths that the PLP and FNM, but this particular plot was plotted, we believe, by Philip Brave Davis when he met on a boat with one of the people in his organization in order to confuse the Bahamian public. Ladies and gentlemen, do not be confused. You got voice notes, etc., of people where they're saying that they are with the Coalition of Independence. They are calling my name, but they are not one of our candidates. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, we need you to be careful. When you go to that ballot box, we need you to look for our symbol. It's going to be in black and white. All symbols are going to be in black and white. The FNM's torch is going to be in black and white. The PLP's hand is going to be in black and white. All are going to be in black and white. Be careful. They tried to form a new party and call it the Coalition. All right? They have broken the law. They were trying to put this coalition, the word coalition, as a part of their logo so that it could appear on the ballot and people would be confused as to which coalition it is. And some people might be fooled to vote for them. But of course, we protested. We made sure that they could not. We spoke to the Parliamentary Commission. We made sure that they could not put a symbol that had the coalition word in it to confuse people. All right, we made sure that that couldn't happen. And so we protested, and it wasn't allowed to happen anymore. All right, so we need all of you to focus. Listen, I've told you before, the fastest and the best way to make money right now, if you're broke and you're hurting, is to fight against the coalition and Lincoln Bain. So if you see these little talk people doing their little lives and stuff, making noise, they're making their money. So while you should ignore them and not even watch them, understand that some of them are hurting right now and they need to sing for their supper. They have to eat. So people are calling me and saying, oh, this one said this and this one said that, you should correct him. Listen, those people need to eat. But the Bahamian people need to understand that the best way for these people to make money right now is to do anything against me or the coalition. Because there are some persons who don't want to see the new Bahamas. They don't want to see it. They will pay anything because they are terrified and afraid of the change that is about to come and the change that is already here. So focus, Bahamas. Don't let them fool you walking around in their black shirts. Don't let them fool you walking around using our symbol, the fist, our hand symbol, the fist. Don't let them fool you walking around even with our logo. Ladies and gentlemen, they are not us. They are not us. We need you to understand that and stay focused. And so these sellouts, especially sellouts who have sold out their parties before and joined other parties and that kind of stuff, we can't trust them. We got one shot at this. We have one shot at this. And we need you to understand this. Look, pay careful attention. Show your family this symbol. Teach them this symbol. And learn the name of your candidate. It's on our website. This is of utmost importance. All right? And so we just want to make it clear that this party is calling themselves the United Coalition. All right? They're calling themselves the United Coalition. And they're calling themselves that because when we had our little meeting, when we were discussing whether it would make sense to come together, that is a name that I brought up. And they decided to steal that, knowing that that is a name that we are in ownership of. And so these people calling themselves the United Coalition, I want you to know and understand that we own that name. We registered the name, the Coalition. Yes, us. We registered the name, the Coalition. We also registered the name, the Coalition of Independence, because we knew that the fakes were coming. We were ready for them. We were 2 steps ahead of them. And so these people walking around calling themselves the Coalition, we want you to understand that you're going to get a letter from our lawyers. And I hope Brave takes the time. I hope Brave pays for you. We own and registered before you were in existence the name, the coalition. We registered the name, the Coalition of Independence, and we also registered the name, the United Coalition. And so, Bahamians, I want you to understand that we're prepared for this war and we're ready for this war. And we anticipated every single move that the enemy would make. We anticipated it. We knew that they were coming. We knew that they would try to copy us. We knew the different ways because these fellas are playing checkers. I don't play checkers. I make chessboards. We don't play checkers around here. And so we just want them to know that we're going to allow you to stop using the word United Coalition Party, United Coalition Movement, whatever it is that you've decided to start calling yourselves. We're going to give you a chance to stop, and I've come on here to say it live in front of the entire Bahamas. We're going to ask you to stop. We're going to give you one chance to stop. We know you got paid. We know that we believe that you got paid. We know that persons got to make money in this time, that things are hard, that things are tough. We understand that. We know that things are tough. But we got a country to save. And this is no time to sell out. I'm speaking to the Bahamas. We got one shot at this. United Coalition Party, we own that name. All right? So we're going to advise you to stop while you're here. We were waiting for you. We heard your conversations and your calls. At your meetings, I was able to tell you your conversations and what you were saying, and this is how we know you sold out. Remember, your mouths drop open when I was able to tell you your conversations that you had on the phone with each other. We are ready for the new Bahamas, and we are ready for war, and we're not playing for this with this. We are serious, and we're calling on all Bahamians to get ready. There's 15 days to the new Bahamas, and we can't let anything stop this. And so if they think that we are playing checkers, they're picking a fight with the wrong ones. We are way ahead of them. All right? So, again, we have all the documentation. I'll show it to you before the night is out, but we'll show you where we own that name that they copied. And we've already spoken to the parliamentary commissioner about that. And if we don't want them to, I don't think they can even run using that name. One of them was smart. She registered under her old party. We're not playing games. So in the same way that Minister is going to come with his games for the election, with all his tricks, we're way ahead of them. In the same way that after we get in, they're going to try their tricks to stop us from giving you what we've promised, we're way ahead of them. We're listening to their conversations. We're on top of everything we're doing. We know all their text messages. And so I'll show that to you before the end is out. But for those persons who have sold out the Bahamian people, who have sold out their country, shame on you. Shame on you. Stop going around telling people your name and that you are with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm introducing you to our candidates. You're going to talk to several of them tonight. There's 4 of them tonight. And so we might go a little later tonight. But this is important. These are the people that you are voting for. Memorize those names. Remember the symbol. If you don't remember nothing else, remember the symbol. Even if you don't remember the names, remember the real symbol. We made sure that they couldn't copy it. But they're going to go on the ballot with just this C thing. C is for copy. C is for copy. And so That's what they're going to go on the ballot to do. All right. So we just wanted to update you with that. Again, last thing I'm going to say before we get to what we're here to talk about tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a chance to watch the PLP's economic plan last night, and I was sorely disappointed. Nothing. They're now starting to repeat stuff that they heard me say. You can see it. Nothing. We cannot go back. Nothing. They're showing you these new candidates as if it's going to be something better. They're showing you these candidates and trying to get you. When those candidates get in, they're going to be able to do nothing but follow what they are told, do what they are told, and that's it. It's going to be the same corruption over and over again. It's time for change. They're promising you the world. Brave is now repeating stuff you heard us say about COVID. Oh, we're going to end the emergency orders. Yeah, really? This coming from the same party that said that they were going to follow the election results. Sorry, the referendum results on gaming. The same. This y'all, Brave? This y'all? Yes, this y'all. The same people who said they would not add any more taxes. The same party said no new taxes, and then when they came, they hit us with VAT. This y'all, Brave? Yeah, this y'all. This y'all. The Bahamian people are not fooled, and so we want change. So I just wanted to plug that one in there before we get started. And so, ladies and gentlemen, 1 year ago, something devastated the Bahamas, and it was called Dorian. Something devastated the Bahamas. Dorian devastated this country. And 3 of our candidates are not only from Abaco, they were living in Abaco at the time of that hurricane, terrible hurricane. And I want to introduce them to you tonight. I want to introduce them to you. I want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to do in terms of hurricane preparedness, just quickly. And then we're going to talk about what we came here to talk about tonight. We have to summarize it because we're trying to get all of our candidates in. We literally have 14 days before election. We want you to understand this. And so, yes, we're going to talk a little bit about marijuana tonight. We're going to show you the level of the research that we do. Whenever we tell you about something, we have researched it thoroughly. We have been there. We've talked to the experts. We've done every single research that we can talk about any angle of it. And so this is what you're going to see moving forward. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about marijuana and what's really going to happen with marijuana in our country. All right, the plant they call marijuana that has destroyed many lives. Well, the law has used marijuana to destroy many young people's lives. And we're going to talk about that. All right. And so y'all stay tuned for that. Don't go nowhere. Nothing else happening important tonight. Y'all going to talk about that. We're not going to run from this. We don't run from the tough issues. We take them head on. So, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to talk to a man who knows it because he grows it. And so I'm going to repeat that. We're going to talk to a man who knows it because he grows it. All right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to 3 of our candidates. They're all from Abaco. They were all living in Abaco at the time of the hurricane. 2 of them are running in Abaco, and 1 of them is running in New Providence in Carmichael. All right. And so I have some updates for you on the parliamentary registry, what's going to happen, how it's going to work, what they're going to do, what happens when you walk in and that kind of stuff. So please stay to the end of this to get that. Stay with us tonight. All right. I just came from a meeting. The leaders of the F&M PLP, the DNA, ourselves was there, and a couple other parties were there. I think 1 other, or 2 others, or 1 other was there in order to really deal with the issues that we're having. All right. All right. So I want to introduce you to our 2 Abaco candidates and our candidate for Carmichael. Please come, get in place. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kai Mills needs no introduction. The whole entire Bahamas knows that this is a man who fights for Bahamians. This is a man who exposed the wrongs that happened after Dorian. Dorian was a big problem, but there was a bigger problem after Dorian. It was our response to Dorian. There were NGOs that donated, but their donations were being blocked from the people getting them. There was money that was donated that we never saw or heard of again. All right, we believe that it's billions of dollars. At least we know it was millions of dollars. But we never heard of this money again. We were shocked when we saw Kai Mills go to an entire area where wood, plywood, and other things were donated, but they left it there to rot. They left it there to rot. We were shocked when there were people who needed to start repairing their homes. Monies were donated so that every person who's repairing their homes could get $10,000, $7,500, or $5,000, depending on the damage. And it wasn't until that I went there and tried to expose the government that they decided to make a change. Well, no one fought for Abaco like Kai Mills did. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Kai Mills is about to address you. The next person I'm going to introduce you to is the candidate for South Abaco. Kai Mills is North Abaco. The candidate for South Abaco. And of course, she is an extremely talented and gifted person, working with financial companies, better known as banks, for a very long time. She worked at Commonwealth Bank. She worked at Bank of the Bahamas. She was a very respected professional there. And she is now a candidate for South Abaco. Ladies and gentlemen, she was one of the persons who helped rebuild Abaco. And of course, she worked with NGOs. They hired her to get it done on the ground. And she helped people build their homes back, repair their homes, and help people get fed. She was the manager on the ground for Samaritan Purse. That's one of the charities that she worked with, and others. And so she didn't just talk this, she was doing this. And so while the government was failing, these two people were fighting for Abaco, and they were fighting to make sure that people were fed and that people got their lives back to normalcy. These are two people that I'm very proud of, ladies and gentlemen, who are going to represent Abaco. And that is Miss Antoinette Dean. The next person I'm going to introduce you to is another person who was there at the time. She was working, a professional, working on one of the keys down there on Bakers Bay. A very good reputation on Abaco in terms of being a business person, a business owner, and someone who can get things done. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce you to a woman that we're all proud of, a woman who's been fighting for all Bahamians, a woman who went out there to get locked up when Minis gave us that lockdown with no notice. She went out there and organized and got locked up, put in jail, put in that smelly jail cell. But of course, what happened? Minis had to reverse his no notice lockdown order. She was the one who helped Bahamians. She helped family who didn't have no water in the house and who would have starved for a week of lockdown with no notice. She saved a lot of Bahamians, including me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Charlotte Green. And so I want to thank all of you for being here, all of you for being a part of this. I'm proud of all of you. And so you can see them on the screen in a minute. I'm going to start with Kai Mills briefly, and we're going to do this as quickly as possible. Kai Mills, how are you doing?
I'm alive. I chilling out. I'm listening intensely.
Oh, wow. I can't hear you. Let me make sure I get some better volume. Let me see. Let's try that again. I heard you say you're live.
I'm alive, and I'm chilling out, and I was listening intensely. Can you hear me?
All right. I'm sure the Bahamas can hear you, but my volume is low, I think. I can't hear you.
Kai is live. Turn it up.
Kai is live. Turn it up. All right. Now I can hear you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so, Kai Mills, you were there for Dorian. Dorian was extremely devastating for all of us. What was your experience during Dorian? I mean, what was it like?
I'm a storm chaser, basically. I was always in leadership. I was elected as chief counselor, also chairman of my township during many hurricanes. So I've always been on the forefront of helping people to prepare before and after. But this hurricane was a hurricane of a different nature. Nobody could really prepare for this one. And I lost my mother through Dorian. The roof fell on her. So every time September 1st comes around, I remember my mother all fresh again. But after Hurricane Dorian, the aftermath of what happened after Dorian was very heartbreaking. The first half of the hurricane, we could hear that people yelling that this one is gone, this one is missing. And I knew that the eye of the hurricane was coming. So I tell them, we can't worry about the ones that are dead or missing. There's no time to find them. The eye is coming around in 1 hour, and it'll be worst on the back end. But of course, the eye came around in 45 minutes, caught us off guard. So it was a race for your life to find shelter. The only place that was open at the time that was available was Friendship Tabernacle. And we rushed there when the second half of the hurricane was coming through. We had people broke their hand and their leg because the wind just blew them on the ground just like trash, and they just roll over. I saw people rolling over with the wind blowing them in front of me, but I got into a safe place. The response from the government, you know how I feel, Lincoln. We had the British on the ground, the Americans on the ground, Denmark. Where the hell did them Danish came from? The Danish is on the ground. The Jamaicans is on the ground. But our defense force didn't come till weeks later. And when they came to look around and to loot. They didn't come to help us to some normalcy. The first thing they did was stole 150 generators that was much needed. So this hurricane, to me, has been a selfish hurricane in terms that people that you thought that would help, they were fending for themselves. It was everybody for themselves. And they used the hurricane as an excuse to steal, rob, and loot. I was disappointed with my people. I said I would not stoop to such level. They was trying to encourage me to go and loot. I said, not me. I have not that type of character, because there is a tomorrow. But one of the reasons the first time I met you, I didn't even know about you. I've heard about you. Was during the long wait to bury our dead. And for some reason, you end up at the trailer and you confirm, not that I need any confirmation of what I was seeing and smelling for 9 months. And to see that you came and went to that trailer when neither of the government people said anything. We had a memorial today. We had a memorial today. And I refused to go into that memorial because I remember 9 months. These same people that are politically connected with the FNM pastors, I call them, political pastors, 9 months. They didn't say a word. You came all the way from Nassau and say it is unacceptable that are dead. And they don't have the numbers. Look at what happened in Haiti the other day with the earthquake. The second day, they could tell you there's 2,000 people, and they could tell you the names.
Wow.
2 years later, the grave site is still unmarked because they don't know and they don't care, and neither have they told us. We got a glimpse into how much they don't care when Dr. Dwayne Sands was fired or quit, and him and the Minister of National Security played the blame game on each other. So we got a glimpse on the into the playbook of the FNM, and it shows that neither one of them care. You imagine 37 million. I told the people today, man, I can't match the FNM. They didn't bring one glass of water to us. Am I still on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
They didn't bring one glass of water to us. The day after the Prime Minister announced that there will be a general election. The next day, the FNM had a poster. It's about our future on every other pole from Dunderstown all the way down to Cronhaven. Like, wow, massive.
And each one of those posters, each one of those yard signs cost $9 to $10 each. But after the hurricane, I spoke to a person on Keys and said the government, when they finally did come, they didn't even bring water.
A matter of fact, today, the last 6 days, I cannot take a shower. I have numbers of people calling me. You imagine, this is how weightless this government is. That on the anniversary, the second anniversary of Hurricane Dorian, Kai Mills can't take a shower in his house. We haven't had water pressure for the past week. This is a basic. And you're going out and say it's about our future. The foreign people put millions of dollars up there in the water system. Adrian Gibson, that name that keep popping up, he brought his Long Island boys there to construct it, but we cannot get water through the pipes, and we're up for election in 16 days. I was saying earlier, this is a beautiful time to run an election, because Abaco, it will be fresh in Abaco minds of what have happened and what continue to happen. $37 million was given on November 2019, and to date, this government has not built one single structure. They have not rebuilt one single home. That alone, most countries, they will protest. If this was in Haiti, those Haitians will protest, burn tires in the street, and throw rock until their president resigned.
So how do you feel about the fact that the government hid the supplies from the people that needed them? How do you feel about that?
It brings a lot of anger to see that so much stuff was hidden in the pine forest, and there's no the minister, the Miami member of parliament, his excuse was a lame excuse. He said it was therefore to construct 40 more domes. Well, months went by and they didn't build one single dome. Those people disappeared. And you go in those trailers there in the back of Spring City, there's thousands of dollars worth of toiletry, toilet bowls, PVC pipe for plumbing. And some of them, they're still locked. Now and again, the defense force go there and guard them. But why are they guarding these things 2 years later in a trailer? There's still there a lot of stuff that could be used today.
Now, what I saw with the trailers was that the government said they spent $6.5 million, and we later found that a company connected to Sebastian actually spent the money on the trailers. So the question then was, so where did the money go that the government spent on these trailers? And so that was a very burning question, and they went silent on it. And not trailers, the domes.
Domes.
And we never got the 200 plus domes, 250 domes that they promised. Only about 40 domes. Those domes have mold. They have a mold problem. We had to go down there and we bought a dehumidifier. We ended up buying 2 of them for persons down there. We ended up assisting persons. We didn't put it on camera because we didn't want to expose us going down there and helping persons in those domes. But every time we came down, we assisted persons in those domes because of their situation. But it's a terrible state. I wanna skip over now to Charlotte, who was there during that terrible storm, and a lot of people, for what I've heard, it sounds like something from a movie. Charlotte, tell me what you experienced on that day that Dorian touched down.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Muhammad. Well, I would like to speak about the day before the hurricane. The day before the hurricane was a beautiful day. Everyone basically was getting ready for this hurricane. And, you know, we took our photos, our before photos. We had no idea what we were about to encounter. It was such a beautiful day. But the following day, it was like the scene out of a movie. It was terrifying. That was something I have never experienced in my life. And when I think about it, my heart does go out to our brothers and sisters in the neighboring countries that have experienced natural disasters. These are things that we would have seen on the news. These are things that we would have experienced through the news. But something like that, I would never, ever want to relive. I heard of PTSD, what's it? PTSD?
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes. I have heard about that, and I actually experienced that when I came to Nassau. I was safe. But during a simple storm, a simple rainstorm, I was extremely bothered. I was afraid. You know, you hear the wind blow, you became troubled. And something like that, I'm thinking about other people. A lot of persons went through this storm, and I think a lot of people experienced a mental issue after this. There had to be a mental issue after this. And then we entered the COVID pandemic. So this was like a double whammy. And I don't think none of our leading officials or our leaders thought to speak on the mental impact that this had on our people, especially the people in Abaco and Freeport.
Yeah, I think that the mental a part of it was the most serious thing. So you literally had to walk from where you were. Tell us about that walk. You had to walk through water.
Yes, I had to walk through water. I was in Pelican Shores during the time of the storm. In the area that I was, I didn't realize how bad it was until we walked out or tried to get out into Marsh Harbor. The entire street was blocked. Buildings were in the street. Trees, cars, boats, barges were in the road. It was impassable.
You saw some of them bitten from a shark there.
Dead bodies, yes, floating.
You saw dead bodies
floating in the water. Yes.
About how much you think you saw?
I saw 3. One was bitten by a shark. You could tell it was a shark. His entire torso was gone. It was just devastating. We were walking through water above our chest. It felt like a dream, a nightmare, something you just wanted to wake up from. You know, you were concerned about your families. You were wondering what was going on the other end of the island. There was no type of communication. You don't know if your loved one was dead, alive, or just waiting for you to come and rescue them. It was very, very traumatic. And the mere fact that we're living in a hurricane belt, but something like that, I don't think that we could have prepared for. That was something that we could not have prepared for. But the most important thing was after the storm. What have they done after the storm? What was the contingency plan? Some of us, we had to survive for days and out without communication. We didn't know what was going on. And that's something right now that, you know, moving forward, this has given us experience, and it dropped a lot of questions in our lap. We're now in the hurricane season. What are we going to do different than what we did before? We know that hurricanes are increasing. What are our plans?
Yeah. And so we're going to drop some tonight. But I want to talk first to Miss Antoinette Dean. Miss Antoinette Dean, you were also a victim of Dorian. You were there during this storm. Just tell me a little bit about your experience down there in Dorian.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bahamas. Thank you, Mr. Bain. The experience was totally traumatic. That's the only way I could describe it. Typically, Abercornians, we're familiar with hurricanes, and so we prepare accordingly. And we, like Charlotte said, this was something that no matter what, you would not have been prepared for. We had, from what I understand, just about almost a 30 or 40-foot wave that came through. And in my area where I lived, my house is built on at least 6 course a block. And I had 4 feet of water in my house. So we had houses in our area that was totally swept off the foundation. That just disappeared right out, was just swept out into the ocean. It was very traumatic. And it's still difficult when you think about it, even 2 years later. All I could just say sometimes is, if it had not been for God on our side, I don't know where we would be. And all the help that we got afterwards. But also I note that Charlotte mentioned the mental issues that would have developed after that. And PTSD is very real. And a lot of people suffered from that. And we had basically no one to turn to. There was hardly any focus on that. I know at one point they tried, but it was not developed to a degree that would assist the public. Generally children were affected, their parents, and even our public service workers. You had the police officers, some of them had to be taken out completely from the island. We had our medical staff. I saw them myself. They were so distressed. They had to send a helicopter to come down and bring a new crew of people into work because they were so distressed. And it was just something that, you think you've seen it all, but Dorian taught us something totally different. That we really need to do better in terms of being prepared for these as much as possible for these storms.
Yes. I want to ask you, because Kai is an activist and, people expect him to stand up and be strong and speak out against government what's going on. You were also in Abaco. You have a track record of being a banker and soft-spoken, etc. You're an academic, etc. And so I want to ask you, how do you feel about, and you also work with the charities, how do you feel about the government's response to what happened in Dorian?
I'm very disappointed. Because we had, like I say, we have persons come in, foreigners got here first. I don't know if maybe they were shocked, didn't know what to do. But I was disappointed because even up to the point we were had to leave. I had to stay in my home after the roof blew off. We couldn't move. There was so much debris. So we stayed in the home from Sunday morning until Monday morning. And once we got out, we went to look for other people because basically the streets were deserted. There was hardly anybody. And eventually we did find, our relatives. But we had to be taken to the clinic from the house because apparently there was some warning that a major tornado was coming. So we had to go. So we got to the clinic and there we were, everyone just bundled in there together. And nobody knew what was going on, what the next step was. There was no prepared, it was just nothing there. There was no food. They had to go out and salvage food and bring it back for people. Then it took that was Monday. We really didn't see much. We saw the defense force eventually come in, but they were still not prepared as to what to do. We left on Thursday. We got evacuation, notices that planes were coming in. At one point, they said Bahamas Air was coming in, but we had to get the Treasure Key. There were no vehicles. So it was, how do you get the Treasure Key? People had to go find a way, and some of them managed to get down there. But then when they got there, they found out that they had to pay for the ticket. And so a lot of people how does this work? where are we supposed to get this money from? So eventually, they changed that. But then for me, I stayed at the clinic until we could get to the airport right in Marsh Harbor. We got out there on Thursday morning. We left the clinic at 9 o'clock in the morning with me and my son with just, I would say, 2 bottles of water and some little snacks in a bag. And we sat on that airport from 9 o'clock in the morning until just about 9 p.m. I arrived in Nassau just shortly before 9 p.m. And I saw our politicians come out. They came, they sat in the car, they looked at us, but they never came out.
Wow.
The airport was crowded with people. They never came out to say how y'all doing, get us some water. We were actually asking the persons, as the flights came in, we were saying, can you all let Nassau know, send us some water on one of these flights. I saw with my own 2 eyes, a U.S. Army person had to go and take his personal drinking water and give it to a baby. Because the baby, you could see that the baby had been out there so long that the child started to look weak. And, they were just waiting and they got declined from one flight. At one point, we saw politicians come and head on flights ahead of us. We would have been out there from 9 o'clock. These people came there 12, 1 o'clock and jumped on an airplane, a helicopter, I think, and left. They didn't come to us and ask us how y'all doing, nothing like that. So it was heartbreaking to see how we were. We were at the point, like, people didn't have clothes. We had to, a lady had to give me a shirt to change. Someone else had to give me a pants to change. Same thing for my son. Someone came and they found some clothes for some children. They had to change the children's clothes. So it's like a lot of things that happened, and it was just shocking to see the behavior of those who you thought would be caring and looking out for you. It's just devastating to me as a Bahamian and as an Abaconian.
Well, and I heard that there were NGOs that wanted to help, that offered to help, and they were refused by government. Did you hear about any of that?
I heard some of it. At one point, I think there was a situation where there were some, I think from Florida Power and Light or something, had arranged for some of the persons to come down to help us with our power, to restore power. And they were told at one point that they had to be charged per person to come over. And so they turned back. Then we had situations where the NGOs came and they said, what is it that you need us to do? And one of the things was, don't rebuild anybody home. We want to fix the schools. Don't touch the schools. So it's like certain things that was happening that is devastating to hear.
If I could just interject right there, Lincoln, on one of the saddest thing of the hurricane is that we know after hurricane, every hurricane you build better, you're stronger, your life becomes better. But this hurricane, it keeps getting worse. You're like praying that let God touch this man called Menace and let him do something. And they had this big, huge, I was so happy that these NGOs, they brought in, these people decided to do this themselves to build a multi-purpose hurricane shelter. This was going to be the first in the country in Abaco. The Prime Minister came down, K. Forbes Smith came down, my MP came down, the contractors came down, the people that draw the plans were there, the people that they were going to get the material from, the people who were going to buy from here, all of them were there present. They had this big groundbreaking, the diagram of the building, Central Pines, and it was supposed to be finished of June, the end of June of this year. And you know what they're doing now? They're putting low-cost home where this multi-purpose hurricane shelter was supposed to be. The reason they didn't do it, because they told the people that they will build it to give them the money. These people already knew all the other monetary fund that was given to the government for us. never came to the people. So because they decided not to let the government run their money, we lost that opportunity. You know, mad I am that people care. Today, what if Hurricane Ada would have come ashore on Abaco 3 days ago like it did in the United States to see what's happening there?
Yeah.
And I asked the question to the voters, do you trust this government to manage your affairs if another hurricane, and what is right down there looking like he's coming towards us? Do the Abaco, do the Bahamians trust this government to manage their affairs before a hurricane or after a hurricane? And if the answer is no, by all means, do not vote for him. Because hurricane is coming. More is on the way. But do we trust the PLP or the FNM? I was so distraught today. I just did a video. This is our anniversary. All the business in Marshaba that are owned by the natives, Abaconians, they shut them down. Nobody go to work. This is remembering this is Abaco holiday. And guess what happened today? After they laid the wreath, go in the church service, Brave Davis and Kirk Cornish as out door to door knocking on people's door. I told them that they owe the Abaco an apology. You never came nobody from the Progressive Liberal Party came to the memorial to memorialize our dead on the S.C. Boodle Highway. Nobody from the Progressive Liberal Party, just like the FNM, never gave a glass of water, never brought 50 sheets of plywood. But after the church service, they go in door to door, disrespecting what we said is a memory. That ought to have never happened, especially for a man who said that he wants to run this country. That's unacceptable. And you imagine that people are still sleeping in car, still sleeping in tent, still in leaky domes, and there's no future in sight with this FNM government. What if we're fool enough to re-elect them? We'll get more of the same treatment. So I hope that the people from Abaco is paying attention to the lack of response. And it's so heartbreaking that so much people wanted to help, but because the money couldn't flow through their back pocket, we are the way we are now because we were in a position that there's nothing else going on in the world. Only thing was happening was Hurricane Dorian, and people was flocking to our shores with all type of material, and the government was shutting the door on them. That I shall never forget.
Wow. I want to ask the two women this. You know, both of you have never been involved in politics before. You've never run before in politics. You know, after being to this devastating situation, you both look at the situation of Abaco. You both look at the situation in this country. Why now? All right, Antoinette, some people have never even imagined that you would be running in an election. I saw with you. Why?
Because I'm not satisfied with what I've been seeing. It's as if there's no vision. It's just the status quo. You swing from one party to the next, and you keep getting treated the same way. 15 years ago, well, I would say 16 years now, we had hurricanes past us, Francis and Jane. And I can remember, it's almost the exact same way that things were being done. If things were sometime at one point, it was as if some people were saying, like, how come I'm not getting anything? But then I could see the next person down the street getting something. And the same thing was happening here. You see some people get stuff, some people don't get it. And you wonder, wait, hold on, we're all in the same boat. We all need assistance. So how is it that we could let our politics determine our humanity? That is not supposed to happen. And we've been seeing that much too often, over the years. And I think that is why the country is the way it is. And we have to change something. We cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting something to change.
Yeah.
You know, so that is my reason is now to be if spearhead this change. Let's, you know, it's time for us to move forward.
Yeah.
We can't stay stuck in the same place and just spinning our wheels and we're not going anywhere. So it's time for us to get going.
Charlotte, why?
My why? I did not want to do this. I did not want to do this. But I had to. I had to because my children and the children of this nation, their future, there is no future in the hands of our political leaders. There is no future. We have no future in their hands. There is none. I did not want to come out here and do this, but I had to come out here and do this because the people we put in charge to make plans, to create plans for our future, to secure our future, they are not doing the job that they were meant to do. And no one is going to save us. No one is going to create a future for our children in this nation. We clearly see that now. I cannot leave this world with my bloodline on this earth, in this country, knowing that the people we put in place, the people we trusted, are going to do well by them. We as regular citizens, we have to now step out of the woodwork. We have to make the plans and to do the things that we put our political leaders in place to do. I do not want to do this, but I have to do it. I have to. We all have to do it. We all have to come out and do it.
Yeah.
Lincoln, you know how sad it is in Abaco that money is available, money is there to help Abaconians, and the government is using the money that was meant for us to campaign for us. We have a situation where people say, Kai, don't mind this red. We're trying to let them give us what was owed to us. But when we get at the poll, we ain't no fool. We know exactly what to do. One house has been built in Abaco in 2 years by the government, and that's a house for Darren Henfield. You were at that house. You imagine the first person to build house is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he cannot. I didn't go to church, but I saw on the news where Darren Henfield brag about all the NGOs and how much that they have done. And I say, wow, he just slumped himself. The schools they build, the hospital, this they build, that they build. But he could not say one thing, not one positive accomplishment that the government that he is a minister in have done. Nothing. He run on about all that the foreigners have done. But this government haven't done anything. Basic necessity water holds the size of canyon. I mean, you got to fix something. You're to election, so we're fool enough to see us in the condition we're in. And you said you're planning about our future. It's about our future. And then the other one say a new day. Okay, every time the sun go down and come up, it's a new day. What about the new day? What do you have planned for the new day? Just vote for you and it becomes a new day? Show us something. What you've been doing is showing us something. And they said that you're selling this, you're selling that. But what are they selling to the Bahamian people? A future that is bleak, with no plan, a new day that has no plan. We have to soldier on. And I believe that the people of the Bahamas is tired of 40 years. One thing I told them that I am focused on, this has never happened since the late Pinlin. A leader that is investing solely in Bahamians. A good preacher said one time ago, God has given us this land called Bahama land, And anybody that has benefit from this island more than the Bahamians, God is not pleased. And so far, we have had foreigners come here and dictating and treating our people like dirt, and they get away with it because they are paid the politician. With us, the coalition, that can't happen because we don't go and do the same thing. I consider myself not as a politician, but as a statement that's bringing something different. Because if you keep doing the same thing and expecting the same results, it's insanity. One wise man told me, Edison King, he won twice for the PLP, twice for the FNM, and nobody liked him, but I liked him. And he said this to me 15 years ago. He said, Kai, you investing in these young people. You know all these young people want in North Abaco? 2 shirts on each shoulder, a collick in each hand, a hat on their shoulder, hat on their head. That is them for the next 5 years. But this group of young people are energetic, purpose-driven, fed up and tired. They cannot sell them that dreams that Brave sell today, house to house, when he ought not be campaigning. These people want something this different. I had a meet with a pastor today. He come and find me, sit in my car. He said, Kai, let me tell you something. You are gonna be shocked to see how bad you beat there in Henfield. But I ask you one thing. Do not change from who you are.
Yeah.
He said, because if you do that, you will break the morale of the young people that has so much confidence in you. I say I have to agree with you, but I got to disagree because I am going to change. I am going to change the persona and the presumption that this thing called member of parliament is a demigod. Yeah. I don't want to be up on a poster looking down at my people. For the first time, I will meet them eye to eye and go to the honorable house to make life better for them. One of the biggest challenges when you become Prime Minister, Link, is the land deal. Everybody is benefiting from the land except for Bahamians. They will use that and hold it in your face from election to election. This need to stop. Right on Greenhill Key, we have married people that are living with their parents and they have the land, the government land, that's available to date. One person has got a piece of it because they were F&M general. But there's so many young people that want a piece of that pie. Kai Mills wants to get in there and to break that up. These people need to be owners of their own property and move out of their parents' house because the land is available, but nobody has helped them. We have seen more of the backs in Abaco of our member of parliament than the front. You imagine, Yuba Ingram didn't have a meeting with us for 20 years. 20 years, not one town meeting.
Wow.
Henfield today, one town meeting at the school where you talk about passport, no vision. How could you speak to the issues when you know not the issue? When I'm going out to a campaign, I don't go to people right away and say, vote for me as a coalition. I ask them, what is your issues? What can Kai do in the district of Crown Haven, Manawa, all the district? Everybody has some other agenda. But if you could do one thing to help all the community, you have succeeded. We're not like, and I don't want to be like the same group from the PLP that's looking for contract bandits, we call them. They don't care about the party. They don't care about the town. All they're concerned about their individual greed. This, I want to stop. It's about the people and investing in the majority of the people and our people. You imagine Steve Gardner's coming out on Friday. He won the gold medal. You know what Steve practiced when he came to Abaco? On a hill at Central Pines. Sabatina Fine, she had to practice on the road of Kubistan All of them has won gold medal, and nobody has taught to put one decent track and field in Abaco, one decent gymnasium. In Nassau and Freeport, the gymnasium is basically a ghost town. But in Abaco, any venue that is held, it is packed because the people are hungry for some activity. They're hungry to tone their craft, to try to use their athletic ability to further themselves through an athletic scholarship. That's what I want to invest in. The future, which is our young people.
Yes, thank you. What do you guys have to say to any Abaconian who would dare vote for? I understand people are wearing red and yellow shirts because they just need the money. They're in desperate situations. So I can excuse them to a certain extent, because they've left us in a desperate state as a people. I've been live and people have said live on air that, don't mind the shirt, I just wearing this for the money. But what would you have to say to persons who would dare think about Abaconians who would vote for Dr. Hubert Minnis again? Any of you?
Well, for me, I would ask them to think again. Think again. Look back. Remember. Don't worry about them just arriving here. Find out from them what happened over the last 5 years. Find out from them why they never told you about your natural resources. Find out from them why you don't have proper, your docks are not prepared. Find out from them why you're still living in tents, why you're still living in domes, why your airport is not completed, why you don't have a high school, especially in the South, why you don't have teachers. School is open here in Sandy Point. We have a teacher and a principal that needs to teach from grade 1 to grade 6. They frustrated one of the teachers and she left.
Wow.
So now they have two, not even two teachers, a teacher and a principal.
Wow.
What I would say, Link, people, what I do is send the correct information so that they could make an informed decision on election day. They would not say, I didn't know. Anybody that went through the belt, further north didn't get, and further south didn't get what we get in Dundas, Murphy Central, Abaco. We were in a boiler for 24 hours and nobody still came to our rescue. Only people that had benefited from the hurricane is the so-called people that they put in charge of our response, NEMA, whatever you call them. Not NEMA, but the other agency that they used. But NEMA, what is NEMA doing? K. Forbes Smith and the other guys, the two ministers that they had, you imagine they be in charge of Abaco recovery? Pakeisha, I think she was at the memorial today. I never seen an Abaco. I never talked to her. They had not had one meeting. These people got elected on the same thing that they're doing to the people. No information, no credibility, no accountability.
Wow.
You see how we turn around on them? They don't want to tell you how much VAT money they got. They don't want to tell you how much hurricane money they got. They have not fixed the biggest money maker, which is custom port. Custom has to move to somebody else's building. They have not put $1. I did a cleanup there, me and Antoinette, up on the dock there, and over 20 loads of filth that we took off the dock. This place should be pristine because this is where the most commerce is. Everything after Hurricane Dorian have to be brought in, and you gotta have it like a pig style. What this government, I don't know, because we had Hubert Ingram so long, and Minnis thought that we had so much. But this guy would say to the foreign people, he's not going to build anything. Let the white people rebuild Abaco.
Yeah.
And just what he said on the first week, let the white people build it. That brute haven't built nothing yet. Haven't spoke about anything tangible. No way forward. There's been nothing of priority. You would think that the government would prioritize something. I'm listening keenly in House Assembly during the budget, what they got for Abaco. Oh, they're going to put $30 million on a bridge in Eleuthera. And your people are still in the dome. Boy, it would have been so beautiful they would take $5 million of that on material. But nothing has been done to help further the recovery of a people that are still sleeping in cars.
All right.
Lincoln, I have
Go ahead.
I have one more thing. I'd be remiss if I don't mention this. We have a mini hospital here. I still don't understand why we are flying persons out to Nassau for medical care. I spoke with someone from the clinic, and basically they're just lacking staff and they need more equipment, but they have space there. No matter what it is, if you break your hand, you have to go to Nassau.
2031.
A Medivac flight out of here is almost it's just about between $5,000 and $8,000.
Wow.
I don't understand what they're doing. We have two hospitals. One they built under Mr. Ingram's administration, Exuma, and in Abaco.
Well, the good part is they have 14 more days, we can now say. 14 more days and they'll be gone. The dark ages will be over. 14 more days. It's almost over. Wow.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yes. Charlotte, what would you say to persons from Abaco who would dare consider voting for the FNF?
Well, at the end of the day, we have full right to choose who we would want to vote for. But I would say, look at what they have done. So not pay attention to what they have said, but look at what they have done. Look at where we are now. We have a system right now that is still functioning in the 20th century. We are a nation of evolving people. We have to decide where we want to go from where we are right now. And where we are right now is not where we are supposed to be as a people. We have to make decisions not for ourselves, but for our children and for their children. We cannot go on any longer like this. Like I said, we all have the choice to choose who we want to vote for. But we must vote for a future that we now see that they cannot give us. We have to now create that future for ourselves by putting it in the hands of persons who believe in Bahamians, who are willing to put Bahamians first. Leadership with compassion. And there is no compassion from either of the government leaders. None of them. There's a reason there is an opposition. They are there to oppose injustice on the people. When you go to that booth to vote for change, something different. Vote for a future that you believe in. Vote for your children. Our loyalty should be to our country and our children, not to party colors or party leaders. We must love ourselves enough, our nation enough, and our children enough to want something different. Bahamas, vote for your life. We matter.
All right. Awesome. And so, I want to thank all of you for being strong Bahamians and making the decision to stand up in this time. We know it's never easy to stand up. People always tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and how you should do it when they don't have the courage to stand up and do what is right. But I want to thank all of you strong persons who have decided to stand up for the Bahamian people. I admire every single one of you. I admire all three of you. And I believe that you will make a major difference in the House of Assembly, a major difference in the House of Assembly and in the cabinet of this Bahamas. And you have proven to yourselves that you are willing to do what it takes to stand up for the Bahamian people. We're going to talk a little bit about the election now. We're going to talk a little bit about my meeting with the parliamentarians. So I'm going to let you all stay on there just in case you all have any questions. And we're going to take questions from Bahamian people. But I just have to update you on what's been going on. That's why we were late. We actually have solutions that we prepared, our hurricane solutions, but we're not going to go into them tonight. We're going to go into them another time because time will not allow. But we have sat down and we have planned out every single strategy. We've planned out the whole strategy for what would happen if we have a major storm in October. And so we come to government on September 16th, which is the anniversary of Bahamian Evolution. At the founding of Bahamian Evolution, we come to governance on that day. We are ready to start to put things in place immediately so that if October hits and we have another major storm, we are ready. Every single government in this country's future should be preparing for a major storm. It should not be used as an excuse in the future. So there's so many things that we wanted to talk about. We're going to use another time to talk about them, or we're just going to put it on our website so you can see that we have planned this out. We have drawn out the facilities that we're going to be using to transform this country. And we have planning in place that is going to transform hurricane preparedness in this country. And when I say plans, you know that when we come with the plans, you know that we do it right. And so they're right in front of me, but we're going to do that another time, because we're almost out of time, and it's very important. The election is in 14 days, and I can tell you that based on our meeting with the parliamentary commissioner just now, election is going to be a disaster unless we do some things immediately. So I just want to say this, all right? We spoke to the parliamentary commissioner. He advised us on how this whole thing is going to work. And so right now, there's a stalemate between the major political parties. Myself and the DNA were willing to compromise with the parliamentary commissioner, but the PLP and FNM were not. The parliamentary commissioner brought up the same issue that they brought up last year, and that was that there are too many parties. Most of the parties have 6, 7, 8, or 9 candidates, most of them. So there's an average of 7 for all of them. Some have 8, some have 9 candidates running. And so the law allows you up to 3 persons per polling division. The law allows for that. That is your right by the Constitution, and no one can take that from you. And so the problem with that is, if you have a constituency with 9 candidates and 3 persons are allowed for each of them, that's 27 persons in that polling station, in that little classroom, plus another 5 persons from the government, from the parliamentary department. Now you're looking at 32 persons in that one room. That's a full class of children. There's no space to do anything. 32 children fill the class. Imagine 32 adults. And so that's a problem. And so they were asking us to allow less persons to be there for each representative. And so the third parties that were there had no problem with there being the parliamentary commissioner recommended each person have 1. So that would give you, if it's 9 parties and independents, it would give you 9 persons in there, plus the 5. It's still a crowded room, but it's better than having over 30 persons. The F&M said no. Basically, their discussion, their thinking is that, if this have to go to court, they need their persons who have taken proper notes, and they are getting ready for election court. And so if they go to election court, they need to have at least 2 to 3 persons in there to be able to record everything that's going on. And so that made me curious if ministers intentionally making everything backwards so that we would have to end up going to court. That's what it seems like from the language that was spoken there. The F&M is represented by the Deputy Prime Minister and by Dr. Nigel Lewis. And so I'm curious as to whether that is minister's strategy to stall. Because it could be in court for a very long time. That could give him another 6 months to even a year if it's clogged up in court. And so we have to be prepared to stand up and fight. We have to be prepared. And so, basically we were ready to compromise and say, okay, we can have 1 person in there. We'll all be watching. But the PLP and the F&M said no. They said, the PLP said, go find a bigger building. They said, go back to the drawing board and find a bigger building then. Since you can't use a small classroom, go get bigger space. And my thing to them was, why would you do that? I gave an example. They do it in the schools because that's the only place you can find all of these rooms, available. And so these classrooms are pretty small. How are you going to find, we have 13 polling divisions. How are you going to find 13 bigger spaces? That's like you need 13 mega churches or big churches in one constituency to have that. You can't take people outside of their polling division because they need to be able to walk to vote so they're not disenfranchised. And this is a problem. And so those older men from the PLP and F&M were haggling over something that is impossible. They're saying, well, find bigger buildings, spaces, and that's it. They're not compromising. And so this is why we need a new Bahamas. Because these old dinosaurs who are stuck in their ways, they need to go. And I'm telling them, I should be the one in here arguing that we don't trust y'all and we need as much eyes on y'all as possible. But we realize that there's a COVID situation and we all have to compromise. I told them that, at one point during the lockdown, they said, you have to choose which person from your household is going to go to the food store. It couldn't be everybody. It was going to be one person at one point. We all have to compromise in this situation, and we want our people to be safe. We don't want a room with 30, 40 people in it just for one person to come and vote. It's not necessary. And so we said that we should compromise. But of course, they couldn't care less. They are terrified of the blackout, and they want to try to find ways to stop this election. Even when we win, I would say. And so we addressed that. We had to go back to the drawing board. There was some, and so we're going to meet again tomorrow on that. So those older dinosaurs, they're saying go get a bigger building. They don't care, and that's it. All right. And so they had a lot of talk about COVID, etc. They had some talk about the elderly. Which meaning I'm 65 and older, and pregnant persons and persons with disability, being able to just come to the front and jump the line, all right, to be able to have them convenient. My thing to them was, and so that was their big plan and strategy, that anyone who comes who is 65 or over, they can just come straight to the front of the line, just jump straight to the front of the line and go inside in front of persons who have been waiting there probably for hours. And I told them that maybe y'all don't understand Bahamians. We don't like people jumping in front of us. And if you're going to do that, you could do it in the banks, but you give them a separate line. So we know what is what. We could time ourselves. We know we be standing there for another 3 hours because every time a 65-year-old comes, they get to go in front of me. They get to go in front of me. I go to the front of the line and can't get in because by the time it's time for me to go in, another 65-year-old comes. And then another 65-year-old comes. And I'm like, that's not going to go over well. And if you start ushering people to the front of the line, it's going to look like discrimination, like you're trying to get your people in. It's not going to look good. And so we gave them some options. Either have a separate line to make it make sense, or so that you're not disenfranchising the older people or making them have to wait. Just put some chairs down. You're at a school. And one thing they have a lot of is chairs. Put the chairs down in rows, separated, 6 feet apart, as far as you can, and you just change chairs. So you're not sitting there waiting long for that person or standing there waiting for a long time. And so we gave them that idea to be able to make it work. But these are the kinds of issues that they're having problems with, and that is that. And so many of you who have already gotten your registers, whether you're a candidate or another party, just want to inform you that those registers may not be the same as the final register. The final registers are not out yet. So even like with us, we went and bought the registers, digital registers, the hard copy registers, but those, even though we got them after the register was closed and it should have been done, the real registers aren't ready yet. And so that's a problem, right? And so you're going to have to get registers again if you want the accurate register. And so anyone listening to me from another party, that's what's going on. In terms of the advance polls, persons can still register for the advance polls. We advise you to do so. We have a special process for our people, so they won't have to go online. They just have to get in contact with us, and we'll be able to register them for the advance poll. So that online process has helped us get and all that. We're going to bypass that, all right? And so if you're one of our people, you want to work the polls, and you want to vote early, just get in contact with Charlotte. Yes, put all that stress on her. Get in contact with Charlotte, and she's going to make sure that you get straight, that you're able to work the advanced polls, okay? And so there's a couple of things that we discussed in there. But the overseas polls is another thing that we were concerned about because we don't trust the government. They could say anyone voted overseas because you weren't there. But I'm going to tell you how many people were registered overseas so far. So this is the final numbers. In Atlanta, there were 85 persons that registered to vote in Atlanta, at the consulate in Atlanta. In Barbados, there were 9 persons that registered to vote. In Houston, there were 26 persons that registered to vote. In Jamaica, 11 persons, Bahamians registered to vote. London, 33 Bahamians registered to vote overseas in London. In Miami, 134 persons registered there to vote. In New York, 26 registered to vote. In Ottawa, 41 persons registered. In Washington, DC, 47 persons. In Trinidad, 2 persons, and there were 7 persons that are unknown. Yes, that's what they said. 7 persons unknown. You don't know where they are, where they can be voting from. But that's the information that we got so far. Okay, so these are the persons who are going to vote overseas. There was a glitch in the system last week where persons who registered on the system, it was a freeze. They couldn't process them. They said they cleared that up, but we don't know what the situation is. This election is a lot of decisions that are being made willy-nilly. Every day they're considering new things. They're trying to consider all kinds of things that I won't get into. I had a question about pencils. The question about the pencils, because you're going to be voting with pencils. And so they say that they're indelible pencils, but you don't have a chance to test it as a voter. So you can't like mark it, rub it out a little bit to see if it comes out, and then put it back. But they're giving you pencils, right? And you're going to vote with pencil. I asked them if that could be changed to pen. They said no. You're going to vote with pencil. So Minister and Marvin Dames like to change documents. Marvin Ames and Dwayne Sands said, yeah, they like to change documents. So Marvin Ames and Dwayne Sands could rub it out if they want to. All right. But that's the situation there. There was also a more serious situation that I had to deal with them. And that was what happened in the last election. And they seemed clearly embarrassed to even address it and deal with it. But there was a situation, it's still on my Facebook page, you can see it, where the government was trying to steal the election. The government is trying to steal the election, that's the PLP government, using the advance polls. Over 10,000 people registered for the advance poll this time, that's a record. Over 10,000 persons registered so far for the advance poll. It's still open until the 4th for registration. And so they have to process all these people in one day with COVID restrictions. But I told them that at last time, at the end of the day, at the advance polls, they had envelopes to put the ballots in that could not seal. They were supposed to seal, you're supposed to be able to wet it and it's sealed just like a letter envelope, and you can't open it, you sign on it, make sure, but it wasn't sealed. They also didn't use the wax seal to make sure that the ballot box itself was sealed properly. They didn't put locks on all of them. And so these things seem to be done because they wanted to steal the election. And I brought this up in the meeting in front of all of them and said that this should not happen. Right? This is a new parliamentary commissioner. And so I was informing him of what happened last time. And there were people in the room who were there last time to verify what had happened. That's how they tried to steal the election last time. And thanks to God giving us the courage and the information to see what was going on, I stood up to them, and they were not able to do it. All right. Before I forced them to show me the ballot boxes, I told the commissioner this, reminded him. And at that time, they told us they had already gone through 4 of the ballot boxes, and ballots were missing, and all kind of stuff had happened. All right. And they were open. And this was big news at the time, but this is how they were trying to steal the election. And I told them that that will not happen this time. That they should not go inside those ballot boxes until on the election day, and it's in front of people. Because Minister looks like he wants to do the same thing. That's why they were trying to push for more people to sign up during the advance poll. What is the risk of voting during the advance poll, and what can they do? There's a couple of things they could do. With the advance poll, let's say, there's bigger numbers in this, but let's say there's 1,000 ballots for this particular polling station, and only 200 votes went in. That means they have 800 blank ballots that are good, that they can that are actually signed by the parliamentary commissioner, that are in the box, and that goes to the parliamentary commissioner office, and that no one has checked for 1 week. They can make any amount of changes that they want. And so with these blank ballots, they can steal the election. They can then go, because they're not supervised, into that ballot box, take out a vote for example, the COI, and replace it with a vote for the F&M using the same ballot, because your name is not on it. And so that's what they can do. They can also take some of those ballots out, because they're not counted. They can take some of those ballots out, and they can go to their people. They can pay the person for their vote, and then they can take this genuine ballot and say, okay, we know we mark F&M on this. Take this ballot, and you go in there, and when you go in, they're going to give you a ballot. Don't put that ballot that they give you in the box. This ballot we give you, you put that in the box, and you bring back the one they gave you. All right? And so that's how they know that you voted for them. And so this is kind of tricks that they try to pull on election day. And so we're on top of this. We'll be watching all of this and everything that they're doing. But don't fall for their tricks. We need all of you to keep your eyes open, watch for the tricks. Wherever you see Valentine Grimes, when it comes to election, he's a criminal. All right? When it comes to elections, he's a criminal. I mean that metaphorically. All right? Because he comes around with the bag, and he comes around snooping around and doing a bunch of crazy stuff. All right? And so we have to watch him. Whenever you see Valentine Grimes, you scream. We give out some whistles, some Brave Davis whistles, what he's giving the women. And we have a Valentine Grimes whistle. and make sure that whenever you see him, crookedness going down, so you blow that whistle, all right? Because they up to no good. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have to make sure that we protect the integrity of this election. Ministers going to try to steal us. They're already talking about going to court for this election. They're already talking about being prepared for court. You're the government. You're running this election. What are you talking about with court? All right? And so this is what needs to happen. Those ballot boxes are not going to be protected for 1 week. No one, the ballots in there are not counted at the advance poll. Anyone could change that. No one would know that a change was made. Anyone could go there and take out some and no one would know. And so this is what we got to protect our people from. We got to stand up. All right? And so I just wanted to update you quickly with that. There's a lot more to it, but I got to leave it there for tonight. We're going to talk about agriculture, etc. tomorrow, and we're going to talk about marijuana. I want you to know that there's a serious industry out there, a serious industry where the Bahamas can benefit. We've done the research. I've traveled to Colorado. I've gone to the farms there, and I've done the research. But we put up one of those pictures with one of the bottles in it, the bottles with the brown-looking material in it. Put up one of those pictures. Anyone? Yeah. Get another one. Not that. That's a old flask. One of the bottles. They're right on the table. That's a machine that they use to make the oil from the hemp. They're not bottles. They're containers. One of the bottles, the brown bottles. Yeah, let's grab the bottles. That's products that they make using these stuff. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry that we're being left out of. All right. Show us the picture with one of the bottles. Yes. In that woman's hand, that liquid right there is from the hemp plant. They have to keep that in a safe at their facility. That's the oil. That right there in her hand is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Right there. That liquid in her hand can buy a house. I can buy any car you want right in her hand. And they make it by extracting the oil from the hemp plant, cannabis plant. That liquid right there saves lives. That treats different diseases and different problems. That liquid right there. That liquid right there is kept in safes because of how valuable that is. I know she's dressed casually, but she's a scientist, a respected scientist. And so we physically went there to do the research for what is possible. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to get to that tomorrow. We really need to change this country. There's a lot that can be done in this country. Let's have this conversation. While we are destroying lives with marijuana in this country, they're empowering their young people with marijuana in the United States. There's stores you can go to and buy it. They're making them millionaires and billionaires, but they're doing it the right way. We're not talking about fellas going and smoking dope on the corner. That's not what we're interested in. We're interested in making our people entrepreneurs. We're interested in taking our people to the next level. We're interested in exploitation. We're interested in saving lives. We're interested in making lives more comfortable. Bahamas, I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. Please be there when we talk about agriculture and feeding ourselves and see our research on marijuana. I'm sorry we couldn't go into our solutions for Hurricane tonight. We ran out of time. But I think we had a conversation that you needed to hear tonight. Remember, there is a fake copy coalition out there. A fake copy coalition that is using our name. They faked our name. The coalition. They faked it. And so we own the name, the coalition, and we own the name United coalition. Us. And so these people who are working for Brave Davis and doing anything to make sure that we stay in the old way, we need you to wake up. We need you to ignore them. We need you to stand up against corruption and sellouts. We need you to stand up against it. You got one shot at this. You can't let anyone mess this up. How many shots we got at this? One. If you let this election come and go, and you dream about letting Minutes or Brave Davis get in here, you're going to have some serious problems. If you dream about it, it's over. For you, for your children. Don't mind them showing all these new young candidates in their code suits. We done been through that over and over. We've been through the new PLP in 2002. We've been through the new PLP in 2012. Now this the new PLP in 2021. They came and said, oh, look at all these bright young minds and look at all this and that. That's the bridge to the future. And we get there like, well, where's the bridge to the future? You brought back the same old people. Don't you all see people like Lassie Miller lining up, waiting to get more loans from Bank of the Bahamas? Bank of the Bahamas has already taken his business on our road. And so now I guess he wants to get in government to try to influence Bank of the Bahamas so he can get that back. Don't you see? He's putting his daughter in government now to make sure that he has someone in government. His daughter who was running that business. They took $20+ million from the Bahamian People's Bank, Bank of the Bahamas, to do their business. This is the corruption of the PLP. Sorry, I have to speak the truth. Some people don't like when you speak the truth. But I'm sorry, that's what I have to do. And they're waiting to come back and get more loans, get forgiven for loans. Leslie Miller is waiting to come back to BEC to tell us again, you blank the sweat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the blackout. If you're ready for the blackout, spread the word, spread the message. We got 14 days. We got 14 days to the blackout. It's only going to happen if you make it happen. So you might say, okay, tell the candidates go here, tell them go here. Listen, there's no way. That's why they call it snap elections. No way we're going to get to everyone. You cannot in this amount of time. I'm going out every single day. I'm going door to door every day. There's no way we're going to get to 5,000, 6,000 people. Some constituencies got 7,000 in a couple of weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to spread the word. You have to spread the message. It's you that they didn't count on. It's you that they didn't realize is the biggest weapon in all of this. You have to spread the word. They could come at us. They could block us in the media. You see, the media doesn't include us. They try to pretend that we don't exist. But of course, they can't stop this movement. They can't stop what this is. It's you, Bahamas. If you want this, you have to bring the change. So thank you for all of you who've been supporting us. If you want to support, if you want to walk with us, it's time to walk. It's time to put boots on the ground. Let's go, soldiers. Walk with your candidates. If you want to work the polls, give us a call. Let us know. Come to our headquarters. We're here all day, every day. So give us a call. Let us know. Work. It's time to get on the ground. If you want to support us financially, we are here. Come to the headquarters. Let us know. This is a grassroots movement, and it is spreading that way. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the change. And I'm going to tell you that the change is absolutely, positively here. I want to thank you. We're going to go live again at 8:30 tomorrow. Make sure you are there. This one is going to be important. And we're going to have an update from you from the parliamentary department. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what they plan to do for this election. What can happen, what can't happen, where can you vote, where do you go, The advanced polls, how it's going to be. It's not going to be in one location this time. It's going to be in many areas. So there's information I'm going to give you tomorrow. Make sure you're here. I'm going to communicate everything to you. All right, how everything is going to work. When you walk in, you have to take down your mask and everything you got to do when you get in there. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Normally we take questions, but you know we out of time tonight because this was a special night. We'll do that tomorrow. Thank you so much. Spread the word. Share this even after you get off here. Share this in every group that you're in. Share, share, share. We're going to change the name and put it Dorian in there so you can recognize it. Please share. Ladies and gentlemen, change is not coming. Change is here.
Change is here.
See you next time.